T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Well, a very good evening to each and every one of you. Joining me, Miss Belinda Scandal, and the delectable culture queen herself, Miss Carol Ann Whitehead. How are you, my darling?
Hello, my darling.
My dear.
No more cider for me.
No more side of you. How are you, my love?
I'm fine now.
You've had quite an eventful week, haven't you?
I have. It's been buzzing.
Tell me what you've been doing then.
Manchester Young Talent Awards. We have got some fantastic talent in Manchester. I was a judge and we had the awards at the Clock Tower, Kimpton Hotel.
Very, very nice. Very, very posh. I've literally hot-footed it back from Gran Canaria to be here with you today.
I know.
I was working at the fabulous Sparkles show bar, everybody, in Gran Canaria, and I am here now. I've come back literally just for this today, everybody. Just for you people out there. So send me love hearts, everybody. It's always appreciated when we get some love hearts for you. We've got a marvellous show, though, Caroline.
We have.
We've got a marvellous... We're talking jewellery. We're talking jewels of British entertainment. We are literally talking jewels. Do you know why?
Why?
Because we're pals. Pals.
It's come down £2,000. You mean they only want £66,000 now? It's the first for them. Newton and Ridley never barter. It's a well-known fact. No. Can we discuss this upstairs? We'll crack this open while we're at it to celebrate. I'll fetch you a glass down, Maeve. How's the tooth, love? Look, don't you think you're jumping the guns a bit, Bet? Well, I know now it's signed and sealed yet, but it's as good as. Not as far as I'm concerned. What? I've had the world and his wife in here today telling me what I'm going to be doing before I know what I'm going to be doing myself. I don't appreciate that. Well, what's the big secret? You'd already said you'd back me. I said I'd think about it, and I have. I'm sorry, Bet. It's not on. You dropping out? I made no promises. You let me go to the brewery and make a total fool of myself. I asked you to wait until I had a proper chance to look at the figures. I've got the books over the road. I've done all the sums I need. Oh, aye? Mrs. High and Mighty all of a sudden? Which is more than can be said for you. Excuse me. I've run that flaming pub on my top for years. Yes, and not made a penny from it. Well, have you? Unless you're keeping something from me. Are you saying that I'm lying? Do you think I've got thousands of pounds stashed away? Is that it? I only wish to God I have. You can see my statements if you want. What is this, Rita? What's going on? Look, you're wanting me to put up thousands of pounds. I'm entitled to ask you why you haven't any savings if this pub of yours is such a wonderful business proposition. Don't you come the high and mighty with me, lady. You'd not be stood there with a bulging bank balance if you hadn't flaming married it. Yes. Why don't you come? Len left me a tatty little shop, but it was me who worked my guts out over there. Me that opened this place. It was Len's cash what got you started. But for him, you'd have been out for a clapped-out chorus girl. Better than a clapped-out barmaid. Talk about fair weather pals. I should have known better than turn to you. Nobody pours thousands of pounds down the drain, no matter how good pals they are. Pals? Pals? You don't know the meaning of the word. Bet. I'm sorry. But you won't change your mind. No. And I'm the one that's sorry, cock. Sorry I ever asked.
And there you go, everybody. That famous scene. These earrings featured on them, and they are absolutely stunning. And these are part of a brand new auction that's going to be taking place very, very soon. And to talk more about it, we welcome back Mr. Mark Llewellin. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm a bit limp down this side. But yeah, but that's all. Yes.
This is the second auction. I'm guessing it's because of the success of the previous one.
Yes, last year we did the auction, launched here on Your Manchester, of course.
Yes.
And hugely successful. Raised getting on for over £20,000 for Willowwood Hospice. So Julie's had another rummage in her drawers, and and off we go again.
There's a whole load of more new lots that we're going to be talking about soon today.
Yep.
I mean, the more you look at them, the more stuff that comes here, you realise how synonymous these items are with her character. Why was it so important for her to get it so right? I mean, these things you can go cigarette holders.
I know. Well, it's just that thing. I think we've spoken in the past about actresses in particular who, you know, like Beryl Reid worked from the shoes up and things like that. And for Bet, you know, she was just probably the most colourful character in Coronation Street. We had, as you say, the leopard print, the jewellery, the cigarette holders. It was that iconic thing. But you can't, you know, Carol Ann walked in tonight, you're there in the leopard print, and immediately you're back behind the rovers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk through some of these items then, because some of them, I mean, this we have to mention is part of a beautiful set. This is obviously part of the PAL set from that VT we just showed there.
The PAL set, yes.
I mean, these are important because this was what kind of, when she was wearing this, is what kind of catapulted her to thinking about going, wasn't it, really?
Well, it was, because Vicky, the granddaughter, had refused to lend her the money to buy the rovers when the brewery wanted to sell up.
Yeah.
And then she went, so we've seen in the clip there, she went to Rita.
Yeah.
Rita kind of promised she'd help out, and then it didn't. Bet told the other residents that Rita was helping out, and so Rita reneged on the deal, really. And so that led to Bet leaving in 1995.
Leopard print, obviously heavy. We've got them here, haven't we?
We have. So we've a lovely set here of leopard print necklace and matching earrings.
That's my favourite. It is. Oh, it's very.
It is, yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, so we've got a set there. So this is the leopard print caftan or nightgown, and Julie used to wear this in the dressing room between scenes.
Did she?
Yes, so she would learn the lines and relax in this.
See where it's from.
Yeah.
Oh, it's from a famous shop called Keep Away from Fire.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be like Brentford nylons or something.
Yeah. What else have we got? Because some of this looks kind of a bit reminiscent of my jewellery.
Yes, although yours are real, of course.
No,
but,
definitely not real.
But yeah, that's that she wore for going to one of the licensed victualler dues. There's now these ones. These was presented to her. So when Julie and Roy Barraclough switched on the Blackpool illuminations,
right,
these were presented by Blackpool Council to Bet. So yes, these are little Blackpool light bulbs, Diamante light bulb earrings.
The what? Do they light up?
Well, I think they used to at one time because they got little things on the back, but the batteries will have gone now. But yeah,
50 lots. I'm looking at this, including a D-squared corduroy and coyote bearing the legend "Keep Me Hot" hat.
Yes,
which I think you should model for us, Mr. Mark.
Got that on.
So how do people get involved in bidding for this then? And we should say, of course, it is for Willowwood, all this.
It is for Willowwood Hospice. So you can go on the hospice website, which is willowwood.info.
Yeah.
And everything's on there. You can download the catalogue. The auction starts on Remembrance Sunday.
Right.
At noon.
Yes.
And will be on...
November.
No. That's Remembrance Day. It's the 14th of November. It's Remembrance Sunday.
This is why you need the dates.
The 14th, the Sunday, and will be on eBay or through the hospice website for 10 days.
And once the money's been donated, collected, auctioned, what does it go to? What does it help?
So the hospice itself provides free everything that I'm a trustee, so the hospice provides everything for free care for people of Tameside and Glossop. So that's inpatient care and also plenty of day services, outpatients, hospice at home. So that's for people with life-limiting illnesses or dementia, for carers and so on. You've been to the hospice, Belinda, so you've seen the place there, the gardens, and the work
really
that's done.
It's a beautiful place, really. Well, I might go for the caftan. I might go for the earrings because I think I'd look good in both of them.
Gown. There's the ball gown. She
and
wore
the ball gown as well, yes.
Yeah,
and
she wore
the
to the
hat.
50th.
I could wear it all at once.
You could.
Yeah.
Pals, ball gown, caftan, and the hat. It all looks fantastic.
So nice.
As always, Mark Llewellin, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. I really want to see how this does. But in the meantime, if you are feeling a little bit down, then check out A Minute of Mojo.
Jo Britton, your personal performance coach here. If you're lacking in energy and motivation, my tip this week is for you to look at your daily rituals, routines and habits, because lots of us, let's face it, have got into some really unhealthy, unproductive and unhelpful habits and patterns, and they can be really hard to break, can't they? Because habits are neural patterns to the brain, and the brain loves to default to patterns because they're energy efficient. Now, our habits can be amazing when they empower us and get us to where we want to be, but when they don't, they can cause frustration and anxiety and stress and procrastination. So your job is to shift as many habits and your patterns and rituals into ones that are going to make you feel good. But where do you start? Because it can be so difficult to change these habits, can't it? Or to build new, more supportive ones. So what I want you to do is pick one thing, something ridiculously small that you will commit to over the next 100 days. Now, this might be something as simple as replacing an unhealthy snack with a healthy one. Or maybe it is taking a 5-minute walk every single day, because it takes anywhere between 30 days and 8 months to build a habit. So 100 days is a really good guide. I'll be back next time for another Minute of Mojo.
How fantastic! So pick up your mojo.
Yeah, one thing I'm going to do,
Yes.
meat-free Monday. I'm going to bring. I used to do it and I stopped. Meat-free Monday. The one thing she said, replace something.
I couldn't replace anything without meat, I tell you. And speaking of which, we are now joined in the studio, everybody, by Mr. David Hatton, and he joins us to talk about his brand new book, Camp, everybody. How are you doing, David? Welcome.
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Now, tell us all about this book. What's the premise? What's the message? And what's it all about?
So it's 1925,
Right.
And there's a young man, 18 years old, called George. He's living in Manchester, and he's just discovered he's gay. And obviously 1920s UK, not the best place to be. So he decides to move to the gay capital of Europe, which was surprisingly Berlin at the time. It was still illegal, but very, very relaxed laws. And there's open gay bars, and the most you'd get is maybe a fine or a warning, but actually most people just let you live your life. So he went over there, finds a boyfriend, has friends, but unfortunately then an upcoming election, the Nazis are starting to build momentum. And as we know, his plans for sort of the LGBTQ plus community was not positive. And so it's about him and his friends and his partner trying to kind of navigate through those awful few years.
They sewed pink triangles on them, didn't they?
That is correct. And once they were sort of in the camps, they were sort of seen as some of the lowest of the low. You know, nobody wanted to be nearby them. They were sort of worked to death. It was a very, very cruel time.
And I also read that, I don't know if it's in the book, but a lot of Adolf Hitler's stormtroopers were gay.
That's correct. And I do cover that in the book, because a lot of them joined the SS to almost hide their sexuality. But that almost backfired on them, because Himmler, who was sort of the head of that organisation, made it a rule that if they found out that any of his soldiers were gay, they'd be immediately killed. And it was very devastating, really.
Night of the 12 Knives.
Yeah, absolutely. Plays a big part in the role. His chief advisor, who Ernst Röhm, who was gay, right, yeah. he was very famous then. The gays actually thought Hitler might have been a bit softer to them at first, because his chief advisor was gay, but then he killed him on the Night of the Long Knives.
So obviously quite a full-on book there. What's the reaction been so far?
It's been really, really positive. I mean, I've obviously tried to keep the history as true to light as possible.
Yeah.
I've had a little bit of, cut on timeline, but everything in there is absolutely true.
Wow.
But at the same time, it's still meant to be a novel, and don't get me wrong, it's not, it's not a light-hearted Christmas read, I'd say,
No.
but there's still there's a love story at the very heart of this, and that's what this is, I think.
Yeah. It's right. This is right up my street, because, culture queen that I am for your Manchester. Don't start you. But this is great, because I'm always talking about people knowing their heritage and the background, and this is great for the background. You know, it's weaved into the story. It is true, but we should know that, you know, that what people have tried to suffer through. I mean, it was quite glamorous in 1925 in Berlin. So glamorous.
Amazing. And you know what? I purposely called it camp for the reasons of the two connotations. The first half of the book is very sort of light-hearted, fun, party time. Berlin just feels like an amazing place to be. The second half of the book's obviously the other side of the word camp, which is...
So what inspired you to write this then?
So in 2007, I went travelling around Poland with university, visiting some of the concentration camps, and it's always like obviously remained heavily with me, a very humbling experience. And I always wanted to write a story on it since I begun writing, but I could never quite get the right pitch. And everybody knows a lot of the stories from, you know, we've heard so many stories about the Jewish side, and not that I'm putting any of it down, but obviously there's so many stories out there. So I started to think, well, what's the LGBTQ plus side? Because obviously we know the pink triangles, but beyond that, I didn't really know what had happened. And when I actually started researching it, there was such little information out there. And so I later discovered why that was. And thankfully did manage to find a couple of textbooks and a couple of articles. But sadly, after the camps were liberated, it was still against the law. So people weren't liberated till sort of late 60s, 70s, by which many of these people had died, lived a life in the closets, and many stories lost. And I do share some of their stories, true stories at the back of the book.
It's sad when you read about something and things like this, but like very nice to know how far we've come.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that's been humbling throughout this whole thing is just me and my partner, who's also called David. You know, the fact all the way through this was just thinking, if we'd just been living in a different time or a different country, actually, because sadly this still does happen across the world, but it does make you feel joyous. And the person in the book, without spoiling too much, almost revisits Manchester many, many years later and walks down and just cannot believe from going in the Molly houses sort of 80 years before to suddenly walking down Canal Street and seeing it in its glory. And I thought that transition was really, really important.
So it's a story of power as well, then.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sounds fantastic,
Oh,
doesn't it?
Great. It's great. I absolutely love the idea, and I love sort of people learning about the history through fiction.
Yeah.
So, you know, non-fiction weave through fiction, and there was a lot of Africans in the camps as well, and they didn't have. So you've got your yellow star, you've got your pink triangle, but they didn't have anything because, of course, their skin colour just gave them away straight away.
Of course.
Yeah.
Where can we get the book from?
It's available on Amazon.
Right.
It's available as paperback. It's available as an ebook. It's available worldwide.
It sounds phenomenal. There we are. There's the book, everybody. That's what you're looking for. Well, have you got anything else lined up? Anything else planned?
I'm going to have a bit of a break because it's been a bit of a heavy journey. So I'm going to have a couple of months off and maybe pick up with something in January. I've got a couple of ideas buzzing around my head, but we'll see where it goes.
Well, you're more than welcome.
Why don't you get a book signing done?
I need to get that sorted. Near a few fans first, but maybe after tonight.
That's what I always say.
Yeah, book signing.
In the meantime, David Hatton, thank you so much. All right, then. It's time for a little bit of coffee, everybody, as we venture now over to Ezra and Gill. Well, here we are, everybody, outside a beautiful place called Ezra and Gill. Now, this is the second incarnation of this place. It's now open on Peter Street. And my, oh my, will you enjoy all the food and drinks and coffees that they have to sample. We're going to go in and suss it all out. Come on. Joined by Lindsay here at Ezra and Gill on Peter Street, everybody, on Peter Street. This is your manager, everybody, and she looks after you all and makes sure it's all going well. How's it been since you opened?
Yeah, it's been really good. It's nice to see each day getting busier and busier. People are starting to know we're this side of town now, so it's good.
Why do people come to Ezra and Gill? Because it is doing remarkably well.
We like to think that we do some good food, good coffee, nice service.
And a beautiful venue as well.
Yeah, I think they've done a really good job of this shop. You sort of walk in and you get that feel that we get over at Hilton Street, which is nice. So it's carried across both shops, which is good.
So what do you do here then?
So we do a bit of a brunch menu. That's sort of all day. Eventually we'll open up for an evening menu, so more pastas and things like we do over at Hilton Street at the minute. At the minute we've got a bit of a staff issue. Bit of a shortage on chefs at the moment, so hopefully that offering will be about soon when we get some more people in.
So you need to get more chefs then?
Chefs in, yeah.
But I mean, It's already busy and everybody's already coming here and enjoying the food. What would you say this is the speciality?
Brunch, definitely. Brunch and good coffee. We've got a massive cabinet at the front that's got a lot of sandwiches and grab and go now for this side of town. Feel like that sort of suits the office side over here.
So you don't have to just come in and dine, then you can literally come in, grab something and go.
Yeah, and we've also got an app, so just for like collection and that makes it easy.
What's the app?
So if you just go on to www.ezraandgill.com, you can place an order for collection. It's dead easy.
Hi, I'm Hayley and welcome to this week's On The Box. How's everyone doing? And Doctor Who is back. Yes, Jodie hit our screens on Sunday, last Sunday gone, and will be on our screens for the next few weeks. And also, great news that came recently, Russell T Davies is getting back in the TARDIS too. Happy days. And in the last few weeks, I've been mainly in horror thriller mode, really. Probably because Halloween was approaching and things like that, but I really, really love that genre. And some of the ones I really would recommend are a trilogy of films called Fear Street. Now, they're on Netflix. And also American Horror Stories over on Netflix. Now, I went straight in at Series 8, actually, but I hadn't seen the other ones. And it doesn't matter because each series is a different story. So I would really, really recommend that. And now I'm going back to the beginning and starting again from Series 1 because I absolutely loved it. Now, also, on BBC iPlayer, you have Ridley Road. That is outstanding acting, outstanding casting, outstanding direction and cinematography. I can't even speak today. And also, if you're a big fan of the World in Action series, the very famous series 7 Up, which started in the 60s, following groups of 7-year-old children around and then catching up with them every 7 years, now as they're adults, etc. If you're a big fan of that, you can watch the whole of those on YouTube. And also, the new version of the documentary is out now on BBC iPlayer too. Now, the current one, the new one, is much more, you can identify with it much more because, you know, it really, really does tell the tale of what it's like to live in Britain now. The previous one, for me, it was a little bit, not so much really. There was more men than girls, etc. And yeah, I don't really think it did a really great job, but it was a sign of the times. But I do love it though. I still love watching them all and going over them and, you know, I absolutely love it. But the new one, you'll be pleased to know, is absolutely outstanding. Now, next on my list to watch is brand new Cherry Flavour, a series on Netflix about a filmmaker who heads to Hollywood in the 90s to make her film. But instead, she tumbles down a rabbit hole of sex, magic and revenge. And kittens. I don't know what that's about, but when I read that, I thought, I've got to watch this. This sounds weird, this sounds interesting, this sounds fun. I'm watching that. So that's the next one on my list. Now, that's all from me. I think that gives you enough to get along with. I'll see you next time. And remember, stronger together. Bye.
Hey, you've got to love our Hayley keeping us all up to date. There's some good programmes there, isn't there?
Fantastic programmes. You know I'm a huge Doctor Who fan.
Are you?
Yeah, massive. I've got a TARDIS in my dining room.
Well, I bet it's bigger inside. Now, just in case you're wondering what's coming up here in Manchester, here's what's coming up in the coming days across all of Greater Manchester. Now, first of all, to mention the critically acclaimed comedian Chris Ramsey is hitting the road for his biggest ever stand-up tour yet. Now, you can see him at the Lowry tomorrow night. He'll be performing some brand new material in a show not to be missed. Also, Europe's most successful Elvis Presley tribute artist, Lee Memphis King, will be performing at the Manchester Opera House on Friday night. Now, this show celebrates the Vegas years and will be accompanied by an orchestra of world-class musicians and video clips of Elvis himself. Now, if you're a fan of the Great American Songbook, then big band vocalist Matt Ford is coming back to the Bowden Rooms with the 17 big band orchestra. I knew I'd mess that bit up. Also on Saturday at the studio in Manchester's Royal Exchange, you can see When This Is Over, a play which is all about young people telling their stories of lives of what they want to become in the future. Now on Sunday, it's the semi-finals of West End Calling at Hope Mill Theatre. Some of the best talent from across the UK will be performing, and the grand final will, of course, take place in the West End. On Monday, it's still here. Yes, Hairspray is at the Palace Theatre starring Brenda Edwards and Norman Pace. And the hit musical Waitress begins next week at the Opera House starring Matt Willis and Lucy Jones. And after their recent gig at the Castlefield Bowl, Paul Heaton and Jackie Abbott are performing a stripped-back acoustic show at the Stockport Plaza on Tuesday. Tickets are available exclusively from C Tickets. If you've got a gig or a show that you want to tell us about, then get in contact with us. We are at contactus@yourmcr.com.
Well,
so it's all going on.
Yeah.
There's lots going on. It's quite amazing.
Theatre's back.
Theatre's back. What's not back is the sunshine, as we find out now from our Paul Rudd.
Hello my lovely weather watchers, and welcome to this week's weather forecast with me, Paul Rudd. I'm here in my garden this week, and boy oh boy, it's been wet weather across the country. Very wet, but it's looking like a mixed bag weather-wise this week. Let's have a look at this week's details. Alright, Thursday is looking sunny and cloudy with the temperatures of 9 degrees Celsius. Friday is looking cloudy with the temperatures of 11 degrees Celsius. And as we look forward to the weekend right now, Saturday is looking like rain with the temperatures of 12 degrees, and Sunday is also looking like rain with the temperatures of 12 degrees. Now, if you are having firework display this weekend, please make sure your pets are safe. I'll be making sure that my Fangy is safe, my putty cat. And also, the only bang that I'm going to have this year are the fireworks outside. And now it's time to hand over back to the studio for this week's brilliant episode of Your Manchester.
I completely forgot it's bonfire night.
I mean, it all goes on, doesn't it? It's literally non-stop. We've got Halloween that's just been, then bonfire, and then I hate to mention the C word, Christmas. Everybody, Christmas is descending upon us. Now, if you keep your eyes on Your Manchester over the next coming weeks, we're going to be having a marvellous tree, everybody.
Ooh,
a marvellous tree.
A big one.
You're obsessed, woman. You're obsessed. Size is not everything. It's not, but it's going to look gorgeous. It's going to look fabulous. We're also launching our Christmas window display competition, everybody. More about that in the next coming weeks. But if you have enjoyed yourself, make sure you check out our podcast version. It's doing very, very well at the moment because you can listen to it in your car. You see.
Listen to our dulcet tones.
That's what we were doing on the way
back. That's how you do on. That's how you drive.
Exactly. What? Just
you don't drive.
I don't drive. I'm driven, darling. Driven.
No.
Yes, indeed. As Mojo was saying, why drive when you can be driven? Why have a dog when you can bark yourself? Woof diddy woof woof woof. In the meantime, everybody, from myself, Caroline, and the entire team here at Your Manchester, thanks for watching this week's episode of Your Manchester.